So here we go. Canada against the USA, and the Americans open as the favorite according to FanDuel. Frankie, look at that over-under, 5.5 after a 3-1 result last Saturday. Should we sprinkle some change on the under?
Probably the under. Yeah, it'll be a tight game.
I wanted to start by our star producer, Kyle Lawson, just pointed something very intriguing out to me. Elias Pettersson, lowest amount of ice time among Swedish forwards.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
I mean, it hasn't been a great season for him.
Yeah, I would say so.
And then I think a lot of people looked at this tournament and said, okay, could this be the coming out party for him? Now, mind you, coming into this tournament, he had played some better games, so I think the wheels were in motion a little bit for him. But, yeah, just another stretch of hockey where it doesn't feel like Elias Pettersson is a top player in the NHL.
Now, I know we're going to be talking about these American injuries over the next couple of days. You know, are they significant? Aren't they significant? This was a meaningless game. So it's really hard to make a judgment call. But do you think whether Matthews, McAvoy, the Tkachuks are less than 100%, does that really give Canada an advantage?
I think the Tkachuks could be 25%, and they're going to play in that game.
Right.
But, does it give Canada any kind of advantage? It has to. If that many players are playing banged up and not at 100%, you have to think that it gives Canada some kind of advantage. And really where you could see that happening is the Americans did such a good job of checking. They played such a hard game. They made it so difficult, whether it was through the middle of the ice or how they forechecked. If they can't do that, if the Americans can't do that, now all of a sudden that allows Canada's speed and skill to maybe take over the game, where it wasn't the case the first time they played. But if guys are a little banged up and they can't do that, then you have to give the advantage in some of those areas to Canada. It'll be interesting. I think those guys are all going to play.
Yeah.
Are they playing at 100%? Probably not. It's still a pretty quick turnaround. So there will be areas that Canada can exploit.
How do they break out of that tight checking mold that the Americans had on Saturday night? Essentially, they got that defensive shell going, and Canada just could not penetrate it.
It's interesting. You have to be patient, but at the same time, you still have to be aggressive, because that's the type of game that the Americans want to play with you. They want to come hit you. They want to be confrontational, so you can't back down from it. But if you're patient in your approach with the puck, we saw Nathan MacKinnon really get frustrated against the Americans. We saw Sidney Crosby have that turnover that ultimately led to the Larkin goal. If you try and force the issue against teams that are clogging it up, well, you're feeding right into what they're trying to do. So while you want to maintain a level of aggressiveness, you do have to be patient with your decision-making with the puck. But that's where someone like Cale Makar comes into play. You didn't have him. You didn't have someone that could facilitate so efficiently and clean with the puck from your own zone. It was good, but Cale Makar brings that other element of puck moving and transition and rush play that can hopefully, lead into the offensive play for the Canadians.
Connor Hellebuyck, 25 saves for the win Saturday. He looked unbeatable, other than one all-world goal from Connor McDavid. How do you beat him on Thursday?
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand with working through the muck that the Americans created, because if you can't get through it, then you can't get to Connor Hellebuyck. And if you can't get volume and quality of chances in front of him, you're basically just hoping that he's having a bad night, and that's the only way you're going to be able to beat him. And we see that all the time when he plays for the Winnipeg Jets. I think with Hellebuyck, if he sees it, there's a very good chance he's going to stop it. If it's in straight lines, so if it's just down the wing and you're going to take a shot, it's going to be really difficult to beat him. If you can get him moving across the crease, and that's what Canada tried to do, and they couldn't do because the Americans really defended the middle of the ice so well. If you can get him moving side to side, get a shot off the pass, maybe create a rebound, make him work in the net, which Canada had a hard time doing because they couldn't get to it. That's the key to beating Connor Hellebuyck, but it's almost like a dual-layered thing. It's like you got to get through the insulation in the middle of the ice, and then you have to get to Connor Hellebuyck. It's not an easy thing to do.
He's so calm. He's so measured back there. It's remarkable.
You just got to hope he's having a bad night.
Right, exactly.
Which doesn't really happen.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Now, this is interesting because Thursday night, it's going to be a different Canadian lineup because of the fact that Cale Makar will be in the lineup against the Americans. Is that enough to put it over the edge for Team Canada? Is one player, and he is a remarkable player, is he enough to make that much of a difference?
Cale Makar plus the lineup changes that Canada has made, I think gives it enough to put them over the edge. But it's not like we're not going into this game thinking that, oh, Canada's got it now. Canada feels different now because, you know, you have a McDavid line that now works. You have Cale Makar making all these plays that he makes and, you know, leads into so much of the offense that you need, and that works. You know, having Nathan McKinnon not feel so frustrated and stifled. And, you know, Sidney Crosby's just been so consistent. But, you know, everything that Cale Makar does, it feels like it just helps facilitate everything a little bit more. He's hard to defend. He's involved in the play. And the fact that he can make plays under pressure in his own zone. And we know that's exactly what the Americans want to do. They want to forecheck. They want to, you know, play a heavier style game. He can get away from that. He can get the puck away from that. So it is going to make a big difference.
We're going to get 3 fights in the first 9 seconds?
I was thinking, yeah, that's probably the way it'll go down. Yeah.
But seriously, if the Kachucks are out there, it could happen again.
Yeah, like I wouldn't put it past them. I'm sure there's going to be a significant amount of energy, buzz, like all that kind of stuff. Will we see 3 fights in 9 seconds? Probably not, but it's going to be a very intense, very spirited game. And all the stuff after the whistle, the hacking, whacking, everyone's going to finish their hits a little bit more.
Right.
It takes a toll on you. Like we saw the Americans, how banged up they are. They're playing 4 Game 7s. Well, it feels like they've played 4 Game 7s with the amount of guys that are banged up in such a short period of time.
I loved the reaction of John Tortorella after the 3rd fight. Like, he doesn't like staged fights. So just tell you, it's just like, let's go. Like,
yeah, we got to get on with the game.
Let's get on with the game.
Well, he game planned all day for the actual hockey part.
Exactly.
This guy said, listen to the pre-scout. You're going to fight all game.
9 seconds, he'll never get back. 5th time Canada will play the United States for the title in a best-on-best tournament. It'll be Thursday night. Frankie, thanks for this.
Thanks,
this is
man.
awesome.